Okay, we're going to have a look at carbon dioxide, why it's a greenhouse gas, and the idea that increasing amounts in the atmosphere contributes to climate change. So here's a diagram, and you'll see here, obviously not to scale, this is the sun, and it's shining light, but also heat, and that heat gets through the atmosphere and reaches the Earth. Some of the heat bounces off the top of the atmosphere and goes out into space. When the heat that comes and hits the Earth, that will be absorbed by the Earth's surface. It warms warms us, it helps us live our lives, grow our crops, etc. Some of that heat obviously gets bounced back off, and when it gets bounced off, lots of it will just escape. The issue with greenhouse gases is that they build up in the atmosphere. And as they build up in the atmosphere, the concentration reaches a point where too much of the greenhouse gas actually gets reflected back into the Earth. So rather than it all escaping out into the atmosphere, what happens is too much of the heat gets reflected back into the Earth, and that means that the temperature of the Earth over a period of 10, 20, 50, 100 years, the temperature of the planet is getting warmer and warmer and warmer. And that's going to be an issue. So first of all, what gases cause the greenhouse effect? The main gas, according to the syllabus, that you need to know about is carbon dioxide. Additionally, there are other gases which include methane. How do they work? So as I said earlier, the gases here build up. So the carbon dioxide, the methane, they build up and they reflect the heat back down to the Earth's surface. So rather than allowing it to escape, the heat bounces back, and that's how the temperature of the planet gets warmer. So what does that mean? Well, if the planet is warming, we know at the top and the bottom, on the poles, we've got ice caps. Those ice caps melt. The ice, when it's solid, is sitting on top of the water. As it melts, it turns to liquid, and that liquid means the level of the water on our planet rises. If it rises, then low-lying areas around the world can become flooded. So some examples of areas that may well be flooded. On the map here, you can see Florida. Florida is very low level. Florida will end up flooding. There's a number of Pacific countries, island countries here, which will likely get flooded. In Asia, Bangladesh, low-lying cities like Bangkok and Jakarta are all at very high risk of flooding. In addition to rising sea levels, the changing weather patterns, and you'll read stuff about in the newspapers and online about the impact of greenhouse gases on weather patterns. So where does carbon dioxide come from? Well, the key thing with carbon dioxide is that it comes from burning a fuel which contains carbon. So essentially, carbon plus oxygen produces carbon dioxide. If you want to reduce global warming, you have to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide going into the air. So you have to reduce the formation of carbon dioxide. So you have to reduce the amount of burning. The burning of fuels which contain carbon are a major contributor to global warming. And that comes from power stations burning coal, oil and gas, cars, aeroplanes, trains, ships, burning trees, the Amazon rainforest. In Indonesia, lots of trees are being burned. So all of that contributes to global warming through increasing concentration of carbon dioxide. Another solution in addition to reducing the amount that we burn, is to actually plant more trees. If we plant more trees, the trees absorb the carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. So, impact of global warming, just as a key outline. Ice melts, raises sea levels, causes flooding. Another point is CO2 is sometimes absorbed in seawater. Less CO2 is absorbed by seawater, increasing CO2 in the atmosphere, and you get more extreme weather. And also, the polar ice caps are white, so they reflect the heat. If we've got less of the polar ice cap, less heat will be reflected. So that, again, is an issue. And we talked about the fact that melting glaciers can cause flooding. I just wanted to add that you may read online that there is a very small minority of people who believe that global warming is a myth. The vast majority of climate scientists and politicians think that global warming is a very urgent concern for us all. Okay, hopefully that makes sense.